Hi, everybody. Welcome to this installment of The Resilient Entrepreneur, Building Success and Surviving Setbacks, with me, John Danner, my colleague, Mark Coopersmith, and our sponsor, the Nick. I wanted to talk about stage 5 in the failure value cycle today, which is really the time when you kind of go back to school, because your role in this situation is after the failure has happened, your job is to understand why. Your job is to try to figure out what went on. What can you learn from it? And that's the job of the, as we say in our book in chapter 14, the inquisitive student. Now, you're not going to be able to prevent failures from happening in your business. Nobody can. But you can control how they end, and you can control what they lead to. Because in every failure is a hidden insight, and it's going to take some time, and it's going to take some honesty, and it's going to take questions, and it may take a little argument, but there's insight in those failures. There's wisdom in those failures. Because what a failure really is sort of reality's way of telling you that you've been conducting an experiment all along. You weren't as smart as you thought you were. Your assumptions weren't as solid as you believed they might be. Your ability to execute wasn't quite as beautiful and wonderful as you might have told your customers or even your own employees. Somebody's goofed somewhere along the way. Something's not worked out. Something was not right. You didn't know as much as you do now with this failure. So what do? This is about paying attention to how failures end. Now, we mentioned to you earlier in another installment the 2 force multipliers of failure, the power of memory of past failure and how it can distort and exaggerate the fear of future failure. It's one of the things that makes it so difficult to talk about failure and to get it analyzed appropriately by organizations and maybe even by yourself. So let us give you some ideas about maybe how to proceed. Your job in failure is not, when reflecting on it, to start by asking the question, who? That's the last question you should be talking about. What you're really interested in is what happened here. Where did it happen? Most importantly, how and why did it happen? And keep asking those questions. The Japanese have a very famous technique called the 5 whys. And you ask it literally 5 times, because getting that question asked 5 times gives you an opportunity to get deeper and deeper into an insight into why this particular failure occurred. And after you get some answers, after you get some insights, however difficult or embarrassing they may be, then maybe, just maybe, it might be appropriate to find out the answer to who. Not to punish people, not to embarrass them, but simply to round out your understanding of what that failure was and how you might be able to prevent it from happening again. So think about that as you're in this stage of the failure value cycle, because failure will happen. It probably already has several times to you in your venture today. How can you learn from it? How can you reflect on it? Not for recrimination, not for excuses, but for understanding. See you next time. Good luck.